Hello, this is Nyasha Charandura from Major Sports Institute. Today we are continuing with our planning series. Previously, we spoke about macro cycle, which is a grand plan, or could I say it is the roadmap, where you are dealing with a seasonal plan or a yearly plan, depending on how you are working with your players and also your league. But today we are going to break it further into what are called mesocycles. I'll start with a simple question of saying, what is a mesocycle? It's something that is very, very important to look at. Meso first, then you look at cycle. Cycle means there are cycles or repeated events that are done again over a long period of time. Like a macro cycle, we spoke of about a yearly plan. There might be a lot of macro cycles that are dependent on what you're preparing for. For example, if you've got an Olympic cycle, maybe events are done over a period of 4 years. You're planning different macro cycles, and there are many factors which are beyond the scope of what we want to discuss today. So, a mesocycle, it's basically a division of a macro cycle into phases. Because remember, we've got different phases when you plan. We plan according to phases, where we have the general preparation phases, we have got the pre-season phases, of the in-season phases, and we have got different transitions that you have within the season, depending on the length of the season. For example, when you speak about football, we usually start from the preseason. When you speak about the modern football, post the preseason, we come in season where we have got different transitions according to the calendar of that particular season. So there's a range in which you determine mesocycles, but there's a principle that should always be there to guide mesocycle, and the principle is called the principle of adaptation, because the players are supposed to adapt to a certain load as you load players, because you go through the principle of progression where you're giving loads progressively. But there's a time when adaptation has taken place, where you can be able to test and measure and try to separate and see the differences of your load. Remember, every training session comes as a prescription according to how we teach you from the major sports point of view. Prescription to what you would have given to your players according to the test results that you'd have received at the beginning of each and every mesocycle. So it means mesocycles also, they determine when you are supposed to test your players. So how long is a mesocycle? It's dependent. It's very dependent. It's very dependent. For example, the minimum that you can have for adaptation to happen is 21 days, which is equivalent to 3 weeks. But there are many factors that determines a mesocycle. For example, your competitions, the schedule of your competitions. There are leagues that have got schedules that are comfortable, where a mesocycle can go even up to 8 weeks, 6 weeks, and etc. Sometimes there are also some leagues that are true tight on schedules. So you design your mesocycles according to your leagues and also the level of your players. It's one of the key issues. From elite players, amateur players, etc. It determines. Maybe you are dealing with the development from the current point of view. So the way you plan your mesocycle is different from someone who's dealing with the professional or semi-professional. So you're supposed to look at all those phases. So when you speak of a mesocycle, the minimum time that you can have of adaptation is 3 weeks. Then according to the situation, you suit your situation for you to come with a mesocycle that suits your players, your environment, your surroundings, and what you have. So it includes the strategies that are used within those mesocycle, because each and every mesocycle has got its own demand. Let's talk of a preseason. The players are coming from an active rest or total rest. It's a totally different mesocycle to a mesocycle where you are in season. So you're supposed to know the characteristics of each and every phase you are dealing with for you to come with a mesocycle. I'll speak of the key phases that we have: the preseason, the in-season, like for the first 10 games, 10 plus or minus. We go to the break, which is usually the half season, which basically is supposed to be used as the way of preparing for you to return at a better level in comparison to the way you've left. Then you've got the first transition of 10 games is after the second half, the other transition until the end of the season. So each and every mesocycles is dealt with differently. So as you go through this topic, I'd like you to design a mesocycle according to the phase of the season that you are. Then I'll meet you as we discuss next week. Thank you very much. Good day and God bless.